Ladies and gentlemen, there is a silent force within each of us, an invisible power more potent than talent, more enduring than luck, and more vital than motivation. This force does not shout, it whispers. It does not chase excitement, it embraces consistency. That force is discipline. Each morning you wake up, the battle begins, not against the world, but within your own mind. The struggle between comfort and growth, between excuses and excellence, between the life you settle for and the life you were born to lead. And in this battle, discipline is your greatest ally. You see, success is not reserved for the chosen few. It bows to those who command their thoughts, structure their time, and master their habits. When you take control of your mind, you take control of your day. When you take control of your day, you begin to shape your destiny. Discipline is not a punishment, it is a path that leads to self-respect, achievement, and freedom. It demands effort, yes, but it gives back power over distractions, over doubt, over defeat. So today I invite you not just to hear these words, but to let them stir something deep within you, because the power to master your mind and own your day is not somewhere out there, it is already within you, waiting, ready, and it begins now. In the journey of life, many begin the race with excitement, fueled by motivation that burns brightly in the early hours of ambition. The fire of motivation is intoxicating. It lifts you up, inspires dreams, and ignites bold declarations. But as the days stretch on and life tests your resolve, motivation often fades. It is fleeting. It is emotional. It is not designed to endure storms. And so the ones who endure, the ones who rise, are not those who are always motivated, but those who are always disciplined. Discipline, unlike motivation, is not dependent on feelings. It does not wait for the perfect mood, the ideal moment, or the applause of others. Discipline shows up when no one is watching. It rises before the sun and stays when the work is no longer glamorous. It is the quiet commitment that turns dreams into reality, goals into achievements, and ordinary men and women into extraordinary legends. You see, success is not built in bursts of inspiration. It is built in steady steps, early mornings, late nights, repeated efforts, and daily sacrifices. The foundation of every strong building is not laid with emotion, but with precision and consistency. Your life, your dreams, your legacy, these too must be built on the rock of discipline, not the shifting sands of motivation. There will be days when you do not feel like pushing forward, days when the bed is warm and the world feels cold, days when failure whispers louder than hope. These are not the days that destroy your destiny. These are the days that define it. Because it is in these moments, when motivation is absent and struggle is present, that discipline steps in. It becomes your inner commander, guiding your actions even when your heart is weary. Discipline demands clarity. You must know what you want, not just in vague wishes, but in vivid detail. A disciplined mind does not drift. It is anchored to purpose. It wakes up each morning with intention, knowing that every minute counts, that every choice matters, that success is not a result of luck, but of deliberate living. Think of the people who achieve greatness, not once, but over time. They are not always the most talented or the loudest in the room. They are the ones who train while others sleep, who say no to short-term pleasure for long-term gain, who follow through when others quit. Their power is not in their passion, it is in their discipline. Discipline teaches you to trust yourself. When you show up day after day, regardless of how you feel, you begin to build a relationship with yourself. You begin to believe in your own power, not because things are easy, but because you've proven you can do hard things. This self-trust is the soil from which confidence and courage grow. Motivation may start the engine, but discipline drives the vehicle. And life is a long road filled with hills, detours, and storms. You cannot afford to pull over every time motivation runs dry. You need something stronger, something that lasts. Discipline is that force. It gives you the strength to keep going when the path is lonely, when the results are slow, and when the temptation to quit grows strong. There is no magic to success. There is only the will to act and the discipline to continue. Each day you rise early to train. Each time you choose to work instead of scroll. Each meal you eat with intention, Each moment you speak with honesty, you are casting votes for the person you are becoming. Discipline is how you cast those votes. It is how you take ownership of your day and claim control over your future. In life, many people will start with you, but few will finish. Not because they weren't talented, not because they didn't dream big, but because they relied on feelings, and feelings betrayed them. Discipline, on the other hand, remains loyal. It is the compass that guides your actions when motivation fails you. It is the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. This world rewards results. It honors those who rise above their excuses, who act without waiting to be inspired, who discipline their bodies and minds to obey their higher purpose. Do not envy the successful. Emulate their discipline. Do not wait for motivation. Create routine. Create rhythm. Create results. You will never regret the time you spent in discipline. You will never look back and wish you'd been more impulsive, more emotional, more distracted. No, you will look back and be proud of the days you showed up, the moments you stayed consistent, and the nights you said yes to your future and no to your weakness. Remember this: discipline is not a burden. It is a gift. It is the tool by which you shape your life. It is not about suffering. It is about aligning your actions with your deepest values. It is about giving your mind the order it needs to unlock its greatest strength. It is not restriction, it is liberation. Because when you are disciplined, you are no longer at the mercy of mood, distraction, or temptation. You are in control. You are the master of your fate. So build your life on discipline. Let it be the structure that holds your dreams. Let it be the strength that carries you through storms. Let it be the fire that burns long after motivation fades. Because in the end, the life you want is not waiting for you to feel inspired. It is waiting for you to act with discipline. And when you do, when you commit to it daily, relentlessly, unapologetically, you will discover that discipline is not just the foundation of success. It is success. Every man or woman who has ever risen above mediocrity, every soul who has built an empire out of nothing, began by conquering the greatest territory known to man, the mind. The battleground for greatness does not begin in the marketplace, the boardroom, or the field of competition. It begins within. Until the mind is mastered, no victory can be sustained. Until the thoughts are disciplined, no success can be fulfilled. All progress, all prosperity begins at the source, and that source is the power to govern your own thinking. There are two types of minds in this world. One is ruled by impulse, by fear, by the opinions of others. It wakes up reacting to the world, tossed like a leaf in the wind of circumstances. The other is ruled by purpose, by focus, by inner strength. It is not a slave to emotion, but a commander of will. It does not merely exist, it decides. And this is the mind that walks the path of daily greatness. To master your mind is to step into true freedom. Most people believe freedom is the absence of rules, but the highest form of freedom is self-governance. It is the ability to think clearly when chaos surrounds you. It is the power to choose what matters over what is easy. It is the discipline to build a life, one choice at a time, without surrendering to every passing emotion. A mind without direction is like a ship without a rudder. It will drift, aimless, vulnerable, and lost. But the mind that is trained, the mind that is exercised like a muscle, becomes the most powerful tool in existence. It becomes the architect of vision, the defender of dreams, the engine of achievement. And this mastery is not given, it is earned. It requires daily effort. It requires awareness. It requires the quiet, often unseen work of thinking intentionally, acting deliberately, and speaking with clarity of purpose. When you begin to master your mind, you begin to see life differently. You no longer live in reaction. You live in creation. You wake up with intention. You understand that every thought plants a seed, and every repeated thought grows into a belief. These beliefs, in turn, shape your identity, your habits, and ultimately your destiny. To think a certain way is to live a certain way. Therefore, the mind must be trained like the body, fed with positive direction, strengthened with persistence, and protected from negative influence. Consider your thoughts as the blueprint of your day. If you begin with thoughts of doubt, frustration, or defeat, your actions will follow. But if you start with clarity, confidence, and courage, your steps will be firm, and your choices will reflect your higher self. This is why mastering the mind is the first step toward greatness, because it governs all that follows. The challenge, of course, is that the mind resists order at first. It prefers comfort. It is lazy by nature and easily distracted. It wants immediate pleasure and often fears the unknown. But just as a wild horse can be tamed, so can the mind. And once it is, it becomes the most obedient servant to your success. Begin with the simple act of observation. Notice what thoughts dominate your mornings. Are they driven by fear or faith, doubt or determination? Identify the recurring beliefs that slow you down. Replace them with convictions that lift you up. You must become the gatekeeper of your own consciousness. Do not allow weak thoughts to take root. Every time you dismiss a thought of limitation and replace it with one of possibility, you take a step closer to mental mastery. Train your mind to focus. In a world full of noise, the ability to concentrate is a superpower. Most people scatter their attention across 1,000 trivialities. The great ones direct it like a laser beam. Practice stillness. Embrace silence. Create space in your day to reflect, to plan, to visualize. This is not wasted time. It is sacred preparation. A busy mind is not a productive mind. A focused mind is. Discipline your self-talk. The way you speak to yourself matters more than how the world speaks to you. You cannot walk confidently if you're tearing yourself down with every step. Replace criticism with coaching. Replace panic with purpose. Every day, feed your mind with the language of a champion. Tell yourself the truth, that you are capable, that you are resilient, that you are enough to begin and bold enough to finish. Guard your mental environment. Be careful what you consume, what you watch, read, and listen to. The mind is always learning, always absorbing. And if you do not program it with intention, it will be programmed by accident. Choose your influences wisely. Surround yourself with thoughts, voices, and environments that challenge you to grow, not settle. Learn to use adversity as a tool for mental refinement. Every trial you face is a chance to strengthen your mindset. Do not curse the struggle. It is shaping you. It is revealing what is weak and making it strong. Pressure reveals character. It is in moments of difficulty that your mental mastery is most visible. Stay calm when others panic. Stay focused when others scatter. In doing so, you rise above the noise and into clarity. There is no greatness without internal order, no achievement without mental preparation, no mastery without inner strength. And while the world may applaud external success, those who sustain it know the truth. The real work was done in the mind long before it showed in their results. So each day, take time to win the war within. Speak powerfully to yourself. Think clearly. Plan intentionally. Act with conviction. Do not allow your mind to wander into doubt or fear without a fight. Direct it. Command it. Master it. And when you do, you will find that life begins to align with your vision. Not because the world has changed, but because you have. Mastering your mind is the beginning of all that is great. It is the foundation beneath every empire, the root of every triumph, the engine of every transformation. Own your thoughts and you will own your time. Own your time and you will own your day. Own your day and you will own your life. This is the power of a disciplined mind, and it begins with the decision to rule yourself before you ever seek to rule the world. In the life of every man and woman comes a moment when the noise becomes too loud, when the distractions pull in every direction, and when the path forward seems clouded in. Confusion. Days blur into each other, time slips away, and nothing of significance gets built. This, my friend, is chaos. It is the state in which countless dreams are lost, where intentions remain buried beneath excuses, and where the soul silently begs for order. But within that chaos lies the seed of power, the opportunity to rise, to reclaim authority over your life, and to transform confusion into clarity. That transformation begins with discipline. Discipline is not a chain that restricts you. It is the tool that sets you free. Free from the chains of procrastination, from the grip of doubt, from the noise that pulls you away from purpose. It is the unseen force that takes a life filled with clutter and molds it into one of direction. Where there was once disorder, discipline builds structure. Where there was once delay, it inspires decisive action. It is not about perfection, it is about presence, showing up consistently to what matters most. When your days lack discipline, they are reactive by nature. You wake up with no clear aim, and the world takes hold of you before you take hold of yourself. You chase after distractions disguised as opportunities. You scroll endlessly, answer calls that steal your focus, and give your energy to anything that demands it. This kind of living breeds exhaustion, not progress. It leaves you feeling busy but not productive, tired but not fulfilled. This is the cost of a life without control. But the moment you choose discipline, the fog begins to lift. The same 24 hours that once slipped through your fingers now become bricks in the foundation of something powerful. You begin the day not by chance, but by choice. You no longer wait for the right mood or the perfect conditions. You create momentum by starting, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when no one is watching. Imagine your life as a machine. Without discipline, that machine sputters, stalls, and drains energy. With discipline, it becomes smooth, efficient, unstoppable. You begin to act before the world can distract you. You build routines that protect your focus. You create habits that serve your vision, not sabotage it. You design your life rather than drift through it. Discipline empowers your daily routine because it gives every hour a purpose. It is the decision to own your mornings before the world lays claim to them. It is the practice of setting intentions rather than reacting to whatever shows up. You choose what to say yes to, and more importantly, what to say no to. You begin to guard your time like treasure, because you understand it is the one currency you cannot earn back. People often talk about time management, but what they really need is self-management. Discipline teaches you that. It teaches you that a productive day is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters. It's not about packing your schedule full. It's about carving space for growth, reflection, and creation. It's about doing fewer things better. Think of the most successful people you admire, not for their fame, but for their fulfillment, their consistency, their contribution. They do not live in chaos. Their days are not left to chance. They have routines that fuel them. They have systems that protect their time. They understand that greatness is not born in bursts, but in rhythm, in the quiet, repeated actions that no one applauds but that build everything. Discipline gives you rhythm. It creates a flow where previously there was friction. Instead of battling yourself each day, should I do it or not, you simply follow the pattern you've committed to. You remove decision fatigue. You conserve willpower. You train your mind and body to perform whether you feel like it or not. And in doing so, you become dependable, not just to others, but to yourself. This dependability is one of the greatest forms of self-respect. When you live a disciplined life, you begin to trust yourself in a way that no external validation can provide. You say, I will rise early, and you do. You say, I will finish what I started, and you follow through. This builds internal certainty, a kind of personal power that cannot be shaken by failure or fear. Of course, there will be resistance. Discipline is not forged in ease. There will be days when fatigue whispers lies, when comfort seduces you to delay, when doubt invites you to quit. But every time you act in defiance of that weakness, you grow stronger. Every time you choose structure over chaos, you build the muscle of mastery. It may not be glamorous. It may not be loud. But it is sacred work, the kind of work that changes not just your results, but your identity. You begin to see the effects quickly. With discipline in place, your mind is clearer. Your energy is directed. You feel lighter, not because life is easier, but because you are stronger. You no longer carry the weight of unfinished business. You begin to live each day with a sense of control, knowing that your time is not being stolen but invested. Your confidence grows, not because you have it all figured out, but because you are showing up every day on purpose. Eventually, others will notice. They will ask how you stay so focused, so calm, so consistent. They will look at your progress and assume it came from some special talent. But you will know the truth. You will know it came from the decision to trade chaos for order. You will know it came from the discipline that turned potential into practice and practice into power. And let us not forget, discipline is not rigid. It is not about punishment. It is about alignment. When your actions align with your values, you feel peace. You feel purpose. You may be tired, but you are never empty. You may be stretched, but you are never lost. Because each day you are guided by your own design, not drifting, but driving toward a future you are building with intention. So let the world spin in its noise. Let the distractions scream for attention. You will not be moved. Because you have chosen discipline over disorder, structure over stress, focus over frenzy. And in doing so, you are not just taking control of your day. You are taking control of your destiny. Remember, chaos may be where many start, but it does not have to be where they stay. The power to move from confusion to clarity, from reaction to creation, is in your hands. And that power, every single ounce of it, begins with the daily, deliberate act of discipline. The journey to success is not a grand leap, but a quiet march. Each footstep is a habit. Each habit is a seed. And each seed, when planted in the soil of discipline, grows into a mighty result. In the beginning, there is nothing dramatic, only the smallest of actions, repeated with intention, powered by purpose. But over time, those small habits form the architecture of greatness. It is not the occasional bursts of brilliance that shape destiny, but the consistent strokes of quiet effort made day after day, long after the excitement has faded. The undisciplined soul waits for motivation, for the perfect moment, for some sign from the heavens to act. The disciplined mind, however, understands that success is not found in a single decision. It is found in repetition. You do not become powerful by what you do once. You become powerful by what you do daily. A small habit is not to be underestimated. It is the morning routine that you perform even when tired. It is the single page you write, the 10 minutes you read, the 5 push-ups you do when no one is watching. These acts seem insignificant at first glance, so easy to dismiss. But they are the builders of discipline, the quiet companions of all who walk the road to mastery. They are not grand, but they are consistent. And in the long run, consistency crushes intensity. Consider the man who rises early, even if just 15 minutes before the rest of the world. Each morning he chooses reflection over rush, intention over accident. This habit, tiny in its time demand, transforms his mindset. It becomes a sanctuary in which he sets the tone for the day. It grants him control before the chaos of the world arrives. Multiply that by days, by months, by years, and you no longer have the same man. You have a leader of his life, a commander of his destiny. The formula is simple. Small habits plus daily discipline equal massive results over time. But simple does not mean easy. The world resists simplicity because it craves spectacle. Yet those who truly master life understand that the spectacle is born of simplicity honored over time. The athlete's trophy is won not in the stadium, but in the countless hours of unseen practice. The author's bestseller is not written in a day, but in disciplined moments returned to again and again. Your habits are the silent architects of your future. They are the bricks of your legacy. You do not control the outcome directly, but you control your actions, and actions determine the outcome. The disciplined soul does not chase big wins. He builds small victories, knowing they will eventually compound into something extraordinary. Discipline, when applied to habit, creates momentum. Momentum is a sacred force. It transforms effort into ease, willpower into routine. What once required great struggle now flows with grace. What once felt unnatural becomes second nature. This is the alchemy of habit. What begins with effort ends in identity. You are no longer trying to be disciplined. You are disciplined. It is who you are. But beware, just as small habits can build you, small neglects can break you. The same principle applies in reverse. Ignore one workout, one journal entry, one early wake-up, and you may not feel the cost today. But stack that neglect for weeks, and the consequences arrive. The undisciplined mind falls not by one great failure, but by repeated avoidance of small disciplines. Each missed habit becomes a silent thief, robbing you of strength, clarity, and pride. That is why the wise builder of a great life protects his small habits as if they are sacred. He understands their value. He does not wait to feel ready. He does not seek permission. He knows that every time he honors the smallest commitment, he strengthens his character. He becomes a man or woman others can trust, not because they are loud or flashy, but because they are consistent, because they follow through. You may look at those who have achieved greatness and wonder what separates them. It is not luck. It is not genius. It is discipline applied to habit over time. It is doing what needs to be done even when the reward is not immediate. It is training the self to act not on impulse, but on intention. It is seeing each action not as isolated, but as part of something larger, part of the mosaic of a meaningful life. Do not underestimate the power of 5 minutes. Do not dismiss the discipline of doing one thing well. The greatest oak begins as an acorn. The tallest mountain is climbed step by step. The most powerful life is lived decision by decision, habit by habit. If you want long-term wins, you must first win today, and you must win it through the choices you repeat. Let this be your creed: I will choose my habits wisely. I will not wait for the world to approve. I will rise each day with purpose, even if I start small. I will build a routine that reflects who I am becoming, not who I have been. I will guard my habits, for they are my path to power. I will honor my time, for it is the currency of greatness. I will not fear slow progress, only the absence of progress. And when the results come, as they surely will, I will not be surprised, because I will know they were earned, not in a day, not with a burst, but through the daily discipline of small habits honored with intention. This is the way to transform your life, quietly, powerfully, permanently. Start small, stay consistent, build discipline, reap greatness. Each day is a kingdom, and you are either its ruler or its subject. The moment your eyes open in the morning, the battle begins, not with others, but within. It is the quiet war between order and chaos, between deliberate action and scattered reaction, between a life designed and a life defaulted. If you win that battle, if you seize your morning with intention, you do not merely win the day, you begin to win your life. To own your day is to rise with clarity, not confusion. It is to understand that time is not something to pass, but something to command. The disciplined soul knows that the sun does not wait for those who sleep on their dreams. Opportunity favors the prepared. Fortune smiles on those who respect the ticking clock. It is not about being busy. It is about being aligned, precise, focused. Discipline is the sword with which you carve meaning into the hours. Without it, your day becomes the playground of distractions. You check messages before your mind is even fully awake. You chase notifications instead of chasing purpose. You give your attention to every noise except your own inner voice. This is not life. It is a slow surrender of your power. But when you commit to owning your day, everything changes. You do not rise when the world pulls you. You rise because your purpose calls you. You do not wander into the day hoping it will be kind. You step into it with armor, plans, priorities, and principles. The first hour belongs to you, not to the demands of others. And because you begin with discipline, you carry it with you through every task, every meeting, every conversation. You move with intention. You move with power. Discipline turns ordinary days into extraordinary ones. It transforms moments that are typically wasted, 10 minutes here, a half hour there, into fuel for progress. The disciplined individual understands that greatness is not built in grand gestures. It is built in small decisions repeated with devotion. Choosing to write instead of scroll. Choosing to walk instead of complain. Choosing to plan instead of hope. These choices stack. They compound. They become your reality. The greatest lie ever told is that you need motivation to act. But motivation is fleeting. It is a whisper, not a law. Discipline is the law. Discipline says, I act not because I feel like it. I act because I said I would. And in keeping that promise to yourself, you awaken a new kind of power, not one granted by the world, but one generated from within. A power that cannot be taken, only abandoned. You begin to notice the difference in how your day flows. Chaos no longer governs you. You lead. You choose, you act. And because your actions are intentional, the results begin to shift. Your work improves. Your energy increases. Your confidence grows, not because everything goes your way, but because you show up regardless. You become the kind of person others admire, not for their talent, but for their consistency, their integrity, their command of time. Owning your day is not about control over every detail. Life will interrupt. Circumstances will test you. But the disciplined person is not fragile. They adapt without losing direction. They bend without breaking. They face the storm with a steady gaze because their day is anchored in values, not in circumstances. They do not crumble when life shakes. They adjust their footing and continue forward. There is a secret to fulfillment, and it is this: progress. Not perfection, not praise, but progress. When you own your day, you experience progress every single time you finish what you start, every time you follow through, every time you resist the urge to delay what matters. That progress feeds your spirit. It makes you feel alive. It gives meaning to your efforts. You stop living for the weekend or for some distant future. You begin to find purpose in the now. Most people wait for life to slow down before they find discipline. But the truth is, life slows down when you create discipline. When your day has structure, your mind has space. When your actions are planned, your soul has peace. You stop feeling overwhelmed not because there is less to do, but because you are finally doing what matters most. This is not a call to become rigid. It is a call to become resolute. A disciplined day does not rob you of freedom. It delivers you from waste. It frees you from guilt, from regret, from the heavy burden of what could have been. You lie down at night with the deep satisfaction of knowing you lived on purpose. You are not tossed by the winds of distraction. You are guided by the compass of discipline. Every master of their craft, every leader of their field, every giant of personal achievement, each one has learned the same truth. To own your life, you must first own your day. And to own your day, you must practice discipline as if it were breath. It cannot be a sometimes thing. It must become your way of living. Start with one habit, one commitment. Wake early. Move your body. Feed your mind. Create before you consume. Plan before you react. Do not try to conquer the world by noon. Simply win the morning, and then win the next moment. One decision, then another. You will stumble, yes, but the disciplined one does not quit. They course correct, they return, they recommit. And every time they do, their power multiplies. Soon, what once felt forced becomes fluid. What once required effort becomes identity. You will no longer have to push yourself out of bed, into focus, into purpose. It will be who you are, and others will wonder how you did it. They will ask what secret you discovered, and you will know that it was no secret at all. It was discipline, daily practiced, honored, and lived. So take this day. It is yours. Own it, guard it, shape it. You do not need more time. You need more intention. Stop waiting for the perfect moment to begin. Begin, and the perfect moment will appear. Begin, and your life will begin to change. Own your day. Own your life. The power is already within you. Use it. Now is the moment to claim your power. Remember, discipline is not a burden, but a gateway. The gateway to mastering your mind, shaping your day, and ultimately transforming your life. Each small habit, each intentional choice, builds the foundation of your greatness. Do not wait for motivation or the perfect conditions. Begin today, own your moments, and watch how the smallest acts of discipline lead to extraordinary results. The power to change, to rise, and to succeed lies within you. Take control, master your mind, own your day, and unlock the life you were meant to live.